Hey everybody, welcome back to We're Gonna Make You Watch. We are plowing through these Halloween movies for this spooky season for you guys, and we are now at an installment that is near and dear to my boy's heart, and I love that he loves this movie. We are talking about Halloween 6, and I guess with that, we're probably gonna have to be talking about two movies, really, kind of in a way, because we have the theatrical cut and we have the producer's cut. So, kind of talking about two movies in a way. I want you to kind of take the ball with this, man. I kind of have a tendency to just kind of fucking go. But I know you love this movie so much, so I'm really excited to hear what you have to say about it.
Yeah. So, as you guys will hear when we do our review or reaction review with Warren, I mentioned how Halloween 6 is actually the second Halloween movie I ever saw after Halloween 2. And, you know, I as a kid, I saw Halloween 2, and then I saw the preview for Halloween 6. Absolutely wanted to see it. And I'd never got to see it in the theater, so that's one thing I missed out on. But I was too young, and at that point, my mom didn't want us watching horror movies, even though I would sneak horror movies and watch them on USA all the fucking time for Up All Night or Monster Vision. So, yeah, so I was able to, with my cousin, able to rent this movie once it came out on VHS. And I watched that fucking tape probably 5 or 6 times in the day or two that I had it in my possession. Absolutely fell in love with this movie. Is it a good movie? Arguably, no. Okay?
Right.
But at the same time, number one, we get in my opinion, the second best representation of Michael Myers in any of the movies.
George P. Wilbur.
Yeah, George P. Wilbur comes back. But not only does he come back, he no longer has that fucking generic ass, ridiculous, stupid mask that's very forgettable from Halloween 4. He's got arguably probably the best looking mask, in my opinion, in the franchise.
Okay. Yep. I know a lot of people love this mask, and I do too.
I mean, just the way he portrays the character, very menacing, very just evil with like the kills. The look of this is just so good. For the character of the shape in this movie, it's the one mask like I always wanted to get, and it was like the second Michael Myers mask I bought once Trick or Treat Studios put it out. So I still have that one to this day. It doesn't get worn. It's on, you know, a stand, gets protected. I want that thing to last as long as fucking possible, because it is my favorite mask. Like I love the 2018 mask, which you can see behind me. That's probably my second favorite mask out of all of them. But 6 is just because of the nostalgia factor for everything. It's my favorite mask out of the series.
It's a good looking mask.
You know,
it's a really good looking mask.
It's a scary looking mask on him in the movie. It's very scary looking when it's on him. You know, along with that, I think this movie has some of the best kills. Obviously, at this point in the series, they're just going balls to the wall gore.
Yeah, they're going ham. Yeah.
I mean, you've got Bradford English head exploding when he's getting electrocuted by Michael Myers. You know, you've got axes cutting down Kim Darby. I mean, there's just death all over the place. Jamie being killed in the theatrical cut by going onto that farming equipment and just Michael turning on and just ripping her insides apart.
Yeah.
There's just so much that I love about this movie, and it doesn't necessarily make it a good movie, but I don't want to say it's a feel-good movie for me, but it kind of is, because it just brings back so much nostalgia from my childhood. And with the theatrical cut, one of the biggest things that I love is I love the score from the theatrical cut.
Yeah,
you've got the Halloween theme.
Yeah.
Yep. Doing all like, it was like the rock version of the Halloween theme and all the themes that go along with it. I love that. Like that's the main thing between the theatrical cut and the producer's cut that I like more from the theatrical is that score. I do like a lot of the scenes that are in the producer's cut that were cut for one reason or another from the theatrical. But at the same time, you know, the theatrical seems to make a little bit more sense than the producer's cut does.
Yeah, I think so.
But because of how it flows in the producer's cut, it does almost feel like a completely separate movie,
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of ways. And I definitely appreciate that about it. And just kind of the different things that they did originally before it got butchered by Dimension and the Weinsteins to make it more violent and move at a quicker pace, which, as it isn't necessarily the greatest thing, it kind of works for this movie at the
Okay.
same time.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, this is unfortunately the last time we get Donald Pleasance as Dr. Loomis, because he would sadly pass away before the movie would come out.
Yeah.
But we get
Yeah.
Paul Rudd as fucking Tommy Doyle in one of his earlier roles, which
Paul
is
Stephen
amazing.
Rudd.
Yep.
Yeah, he's credited as
Yep.
Paul Stephen Rudd, and he looks exactly the same, like the fucking.
Yeah. Doesn't
He
fucking
hasn't
age.
aged a day.
No.
Oh.
No.
Yeah, I think
In almost 30 years.
I'm trying to remember what actually came out first, Clueless or this, because he did this and he did Clueless around the same time. And
I think he filmed this first, but I think Clueless came out
yeah, I
first.
think so. I think you're right. Let me pull up Clueless real quick, just because I need to know. It's a 1995 film as well, obviously. And it did come out first. Yeah, the Clueless came out before Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. It came out in July of that year, and then Halloween came out September 29th that year. So, but yeah, he's credited. It says introducing Paul Stephen Rudd, because this was his first film that he had done. But yeah, Clueless came out first, and it was probably a better movie.
Yeah.
Clueless is pretty great. I do love that movie. So
the other things with this movie is the other thing, we talked about Halloween 5 in the last quick episode that we did. They reverted back to like a normal looking Myers house, and obviously it wasn't the same as
not the same house, but
original
close.
Halloween. It was at least close. It wasn't some gothic fucking mansion.
It was
like
respectably close too. I'll say that, because it did look a lot like it. Thank God. Yeah.
Which, at the same time, doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because they filmed in Salt Lake City again for 6, and they couldn't find that fucking house for 5.
Weird.
Just makes no sense.
Yeah. Weird.
It's
so
stupid.
Strange,
5,
bro. And
5 is fucking stupid, and yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, so I'm glad that they kind of reverted back to a normal looking, almost like the original Myers house, even though obviously there's differences.
Yeah.
And then, the other thing that I really love about this is that ending kind of chase that lasts like 20 minutes. I do feel
it's got a strong final act. It does. It really does, actually. I agree.
And honestly, that is actually another thing I think I do prefer with the theatrical is the final act.
Yeah.
I just feel it flows better, and it doesn't feel like it ends on like an awkward note where all of a sudden Michael's being stopped by these stones that are magical, being put in a circle. So it's that part was kind of stupid with the producer's cut, but at the same time, we're dealing with the cult of Thorn and all this shit by this point. So
yeah,
you can't really expect much, but at the same time, I just think the theatrical cut did a better job with the final act of this, and with all the reshoots they had to do to put that all together.
Yeah,
I just think it worked better.
I think I tend to agree. Yeah, my thoughts on this film. I did go see this in theaters. I was 18 when it came out, and I was very excited, of course, because it had been 6 years. And so I went to the theater. I'm sure I went with a buddy. Probably I probably went with my buddy Matt. I was seeing a lot of movies with him at the time, but went and saw this in theaters. And I liked it at the time. I did. I was like, oh fucking yeah, it was pretty cool. And to be fair, the movie's pretty scary. It's it's I think a lot of people don't like the editing, the fast cutting editing that they did a lot through the movie.
Yeah,
But honestly, I
I
kind of
like
enjoy it.
that.
Yeah, I enjoy it too. I think it's pretty rad. It kind of feels a little metal in a way. Um,
Hmm.
but the I thought George Wilbur, who he seems a little beefier in this movie, he
Yes.
kind of seems like he's a little beefier, a little cut. He's once again, he is really, really good as Michael. He's great as the Shape, and he's menacing. He's scary. The mask, we already talked about that. I really like this mask a lot. I think it's one of the best looking masks in the franchise. I am a fan
Hmm.
of the OG myself, but this is right up there, right below it. Bam. I fucking love this mask. I think this mask looks gorgeous. And it's a scary mask. It's nice. Um, Now, when we get into the story, on the other hand, once again, another fumble by producers. They didn't get Jamie. They didn't get Danielle Harris to come back. Apparently, they asked her to, but I guess she didn't want to die. I'm assuming. I thought I guess she didn't want to die, or maybe she wanted a little more money.
I think
Um,
it was a issue of money, but also she felt that they were doing her character injustice. I think
I
is
think I tend
if I
to agree.
remember right.
I think I tend to agree. I don't understand why they couldn't write a story that
Yeah,
followed her.
yeah,
Um,
and if I'm remembering, because Moore's coming back, I think she wasn't asking for like a lot of extra money either. She was asking for a reasonable amount, and they just refused to give it to her.
well, they missed out, and honestly, fine. It's better for her anyway because
Yeah.
they didn't do her character justice anyway. Once again, I think that they took a really good character they had established in a couple of films, and then they shit all over it. I'm like, really, you couldn't write a movie revolving around Jamie. Like, you couldn't fucking write a movie. I'm sorry. I think
Hmm.
that's fucking weak. And I get they wanted to go with this mystical, Curse of Thorn druid route or whatever. Um, why they thought that was the way to go is beyond me. I don't understand why they thought that was the way to
Yeah.
go. And the We got two movies, in my opinion, neither of which are really all that great. They have great things in them. Like I said, I love George Wilbur as Michael. I think he's great. Um, Paul Rudd is kind of funny in this movie because you can kind of tell that he's like, ah. He's kind of like, this isn't so good, but it's paying the bills right now, you know? And then he's like, and I got that Clueless gig coming up too. So let's go ahead and we'll get through this and then we'll get to the Clueless movie. And he's honestly not so good in this movie. There's things that he does that are good in this movie, but he's honestly not so great in this movie. And I think it's probably a lack of interest. Um, Donald Pleasance is always good because he's a fucking consummate professional, and
Hmm.
he's not in the movie a whole lot, which is fine. I don't hate the character that they establish as the final girl. I don't hate her in this. Kara
No.
Strode, Marianne Hagen. I don't hate her. I don't hate her in this movie at all. I think she's solid, honestly. Um, but it's just a shame. I think the theatrical cut to me works better.
Hmm.
Um, I actually I think the hype over the producer's cut to me, I just don't understand it. Um, I think it's genuinely a worse movie. I just really do. I've watched both of them. Obviously, I have both of them.
Yeah.
Um, and I've watched both of them, and I honestly just don't understand the hype behind the producer's cut. It's got a strong cult following too, man. There's a lot of people that
Oh yeah.
love the producer's cut of the movie, and I'm really glad that they love it. I'm so happy for them, but I just cannot see. I don't see the appeal. I just think that it's kind of a mess. Now, if that fantastical mythical Curse of Thorn path was a path that you really enjoyed, then it would make sense to love that. And that's probably it, honestly. But yeah, the reshoots, they had to come in and do some reshoots, and honestly, you can kind of tell in the theatrical cut that they had to do some reshoots because the ending is very sudden, and it's unfortunate. But hey, sometimes that's what that you have to do. And what's really unfortunate is Donald Pleasance had already passed, so they couldn't even get him to come back and do any reshoots and any kind of they had to basically just throw him screaming as a voiceover at the end. They borrowed it from the producer's cut to put that ending together, and it's a shame. And of course, obviously, it's just a shame that he's gone. But you know what? We don't live forever, man. He was pushing it at this time. He was pretty up there. Golly, how old was he when he passed? I can't even
think
remember.
He was 75 when he passed.
Oh, see, that's actually not even that old. Yeah,
I think he was. I could be wrong, but I think he was 75.
Yeah, he was. I got you, and you were right, sir. He was 75. Yeah, he passed in February of 95, so he passed a while before this movie even came out because this opened in September that year. So yeah, he was 75 when he passed away. Great fucking actor. I don't hate these movies though. I like them more than Part 5.
Yeah,
I like both of them more than Part 5. I think the theatrical cut is marginally better than the producer's cut. Sometimes I think it's way better, but that's just me. I'm weird like that, you know. I wake up on a Wednesday, I'm having a good day, and I love the shittiest movies, and it's just weird. So, but let's grade them. You want to go first?
Sure. So if we're talking theatrical, which is really honestly the one that kind of matters because that's the one that was officially released, even though I guess the producer's cut at this point was officially released on DVD. Theatrical, I would give it a C+, so I would rate it the same as Halloween 3. Okay. So it's right in the middle for me. It's not the greatest movie, but it's not the worst for me. If I was talking producer's cut, though, that would probably be, I would say probably a C-.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to be pretty close to you. I'm going to give the theatrical cut a C, and I'm going to give the producer's cut I kind of want to give it a D+. I think I'm going to land at a D+ on that. I just think that I think the theatrical cut is marginally better than the producer's cut, and I have a hard time vibing with the producer's cut. I'd love to have somebody on sometime that loves the producer's cut to tell me why they love it. And I obviously I'd love to talk. Of course, I love talking horror anyway. But yeah, man. So there we go. Halloween 6, baby. We're chugging along, brother.
Yeah, we're almost halfway through.
All right, guys. Let us know in the comments what you think of Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, both theatrical and or producer's cut. And thank you guys for accompanying us on this little journey as we plow our way through the Halloween franchise. And we hope you're enjoying your spooky season and you're being safe. With that being said, catch you guys on the next episode.